Perhaps a title like that may make you believe that Dennis has lost his grip on reality. Not really, though. I spend so much time looking for fossils and artifacts that when I find a particularly interesting one, it seems as if I've found a long-lost friend. Stone is probably the most enduring anything to be found. Well, not just here on Earth, but out there in space, also further than we can see. Of course, one would not really befriend a rock, right? We can, however, enjoy and appreciate the beauty and permanence which God made them in. Some, like the Badlands of South Dakota, are not only magnificent in their own right, but they also speak volumes about the master artist who made them, that of course being our dear Father in heaven. In my hunt for fossils and artifacts, I find some that I just have to write about, not so much because they are so rare, but rather that they are unique. The title would indicate that I am going to say something about fossil mud, and you know why? Simple, because I am. I added to my collection the other day a sedimentary rock that measures about 2.5 by 2 by 1 inches. It is, it's the color of mud. Part of the surface is smooth, but it has some miniature, what looks like critters that you could encounter perhaps on the moon or perhaps on Mars. While the moon and Mars have been hit by space debris for millennia, what is left behind are crater marks, and what's left on this rock is much more small and mundane, but it looks like crater marks, but it's not. The little dimples on this rock that I'm showing you I found are caused by, are you ready for it? Raindrops. That's right, the marks are left there by drops of rain that fell on the mud millennia ago and fossilized. It was a different world then, when the light shower fell. There were fern trees that grew some as much as 50 feet tall, and the air was like that of the tropics, sort of like a greenhouse. Such fossils have been a great importance to scientific research on what the Earth was like in the ancient past. A story carried on the BBC News explains as follows, I quote, "The imprint of raindrops preserved in 2.7 billion year old rock are being used to figure out what the atmosphere was like on that early Earth," end quote. The article continues, "Scientists have used the depression drops left to calculate how fast they were going as they impacted the ground. This has allowed them to determine the density of air in ancient times," end quote. But there is more to be learned from the mud turned to stone. Let me again go to the article, and again I'll quote, "Earth 2.7 billion years ago was very different from the planet we know today. It turned faster, the moon was closer, and the sun was much weaker," end quote. I have a sort of difficult time in dealing with the age of the Earth being set at billions of years. As a Christian, I don't believe that the world is that old. On the other hand, I don't agree that the Earth is only 6,000 years old, as professed by many Christian fundamentalists. Now, by the way, back at the turn of the 1900s and through the 1910s, most fundamental Christians believed that in the old age of the Earth, but now they've done a 100% turnaround, and I would probably be more in line with those Christians around 1900. But no matter how long God took in creating everything, his workmanship is unparalleled. Raindrops are not the only thing present in ancient mud, not at all. I have a number of specimens that preserve squiggly marks, if you will, from small creatures. I even have one that had tiny footprints of what was possibly some small amphibian. It's hard to say what made it or what made any of them, but this is why they are called trace fossils. They are interesting reminders that something was here in the very distant past. Wikipedia describes trace fossils as their geological records of biological activity. Their explanation continues, trace fossils may be impressions made on the substrate by an organism bearing or bearing footprints. Trace fossils are generally difficult or impossible to assign to a specific maker. Only on rare occasion are the makers found in association with their tracks. Trace fossils are fascinating, though, and would make an interesting addition to a fossil collection, and they are quite easy to find. Most people overlook them. Well, that's all I have to say about the trace fossils. Thanks for watching, and remember, when you're out and about, keep your eyes open and looking down at the ground. Don't run into anything, because you never know what might be right in the path in front of you. Thanks for stopping by.